There it is, guys. My new C4 Corvette Grand Sport. 1996, just under 50,000 miles on it. Beautiful shape. So again, there it is, 1996 Corvette Grand Sport. So for those of you that were on Instagram and kind of saw the teasers and that, I know a few of you got it right, and I know some of you were hoping it was going to be a ZR1, but we went with the Grand Sport. Flew down to Kansas City today, and I'm on the Iowa border right now at a beautiful rest stop, and I figured no better place to reveal it than right now. So for those of you that know about the Grand Sport, of course, they only made it in 1996. It was about 1,000 of them that were made. I believe this one, if I remember correctly, is about one of 190 that were spec'd out the way that this one is spec'd out. Of course, that being with the black interior. I believe it's got the base suspension. Don't know as much about the car as I should, because frankly this is probably the biggest impulse buy I've ever done in my life. So, but we will open her up here, and don't mind all of the clutter from the drive. I've already driven about 70 miles or so, but of course she's in really good shape, just needs a little bit of a cleaning. The salesman from the dealership that I got it from, Hulett, I believe is how you say it, Hulett Chevrolet, was down in Camdenton, Missouri. He met me in Kansas City and brought the car to me, and don't mind the shakiness here, but of course we've got the 6-speed manual, the leather interior with the Grand Sport, the chrome badging that they have on the sill guards, and can't really see anything else in there right now, but let's see here. Cool thing is, comes with the official matching Grand Sport car cover, which pretty much looks exactly the same as the car. I believe it even has the hash marks on it, which I could be mistaken on that, but I don't see why it wouldn't, but I don't see it. And we've got a whole bunch of original paperwork, build sheet, which is pretty awesome to have that. What I thought was actually the most interesting thing was that the guy I got it from actually still had the original VHS introduction tape, so that's pretty cool. I gotta admit that made me geek out a little bit here. So, but yeah, as you guys can see, if I can get this off the screen that just popped up, I mean, it's a beautiful car. It is in very good shape. It is not perfect, but as I've said in previous videos, that I never want to get a perfect car because I don't want to be the first one to screw it up in any way, shape, or form. But it's got those beautiful black rims, great tires, pretty good tread, and the cool thing is these are the same width, if I'm not mistaken, as the ZR1 came with. So because it doesn't have the wide body like the ZR1, we've got the fender flares that were added on, and I just think that that looks, you know, some people may think it looks a little cheap, but I don't know, I think it completes the look, makes it look really good. But I mean, those tires are really wide. And then not much else to see on the passenger side. Of course, we've got the Grand Sport badging on there, which is pretty cool. And again, nice meats up front. Tires are all in good shape. Body's straight, very clean. Like I said, it's not perfect, but for a 23-some-year-old car with only 50,000 miles on it, I mean, that is a looker, right? It's a good-looking car. So I guess I will. Yes, yellow Vette. Can't wait. Hoping you were getting this. Man, those comments disappear so fast you can barely read them out here in the sun. But yep, I know. I saw a few people at first said, hey, you know, the ZR1 is going to be cool, but there's a story behind why I didn't go with that, and I went with the Grand Sport, and I'll get into here in just a minute. But as you can see, it needs a little bit of dusting, but it's not too bad. Got the beautiful LT4 engine under the hood, and other than the fact that the salesman drove through a storm on the way up, I bet this thing would look spotless. But he did run through a car wash, which was nice, and I mean, it's pretty clean. You got a little bit of road grime, and to be expected on a car that actually gets driven and doesn't just sit, you know, like a lot of collector cars do. But I mean, that is, and again, like I've said in previous videos with my other C4, you know, that is just so cool that the C4s do that, where it opens up the hood all the way and just reveals all of the, you know, the workings of the suspension and the steering and that. I mean, that is just, ultimately, it is just cool. And it's funny, since I've already had a C4 for 2 years, it just still catches my eye, you know. I mean, it shouldn't be new to me in any way, shape, or form, but it still is just kind of a stunning look, if you really, you know, at least in my opinion. Maybe some of you disagree, but so let me just get this. It's hard to do this with one hand while I'm filming here, but, and the usual C4, make sure it closes all the way properly. There we go, that is good. So, like I said, put the back glass down, make it look nicer. I'm sorry if this is a bit rambly. I'm just doing this one completely off the cuff, because I figured that was the best way to do it. And I will be doing a more in-depth and prettier video down the line here, as you guys probably can expect. But just wanted to get this out there so I can start posting pictures to Instagram. And of course, if you guys haven't, you know, if you haven't, yes, Brian, it is indeed a 96 Grand Sport. It's got about, well, it will have 50,000 miles on it by the time I get home. I got about 400 more miles to drive back with this thing. And then, you know, LT4 manual transmission, just in general, in great shape. But I kind of forgot what I was saying before. But yeah, it will be, I will get into making a much more detailed and better video. I just wanted to get this out here so I can, as I said, share pictures on Instagram. Of course, if you're not following me there, you can find me at 13 Scorpio as well. Pretty simple and easy. And yeah, sorry about those of you over on Instagram that I've been teasing about this for 2 days, but here it is, and I will be posting some stuff over there pretty soon too. For those of you that are wondering, and have been part of my channel for a while, I have been talking for almost a year about getting a C5. And the reason that I didn't end up doing that was, well, actually, I drove a C6 last year. Test drove it, really liked it, and I was like, man, I'm going to skip over the C5, and I want to get the C6. And it is actually, this Grand Sport is a 6-speed, and it's the LT4 that this has. So, you know, it's a nice engine. Only made, I believe, 1 year in '96, and only with the manual transmissions. So it is a fairly rare item, I guess, if you want to say. I know that the Grand Sport was not the only ones that came with that. They did have them in the collector's editions, and I think any '96 that had a manual transmission was paired with the LT4, even if it was not the Grand Sport. So, but back to what I was saying about the why I didn't go with the C5 or the C6. Ultimately, I think it just boiled down to what financially made the most sense. When it came to this car in particular, it was just kind of happenstance. But what it ended up, mostly what it boiled down to, was the C5s were too old to get any sort of decent financing, and the C6s are more or less just too expensive for what I wanted to spend money on right now. So when it came down to it, just wanted to go with something financially that made a lot of sense, and getting an older Corvette that has fairly low miles on it. And I'm sorry if it sounds like I'm staggering, because when the comments pop up here, I'm trying to read them, and if it's important, you know, I want to respond, but I just want to get through this so I don't keep rambling. But so basically what it boiled down to is that either I had to spend more money than I was comfortable on getting a C6 that was going to depreciate, get a C5 with a loan term that just didn't, you know, I don't know, the C5 just isn't in a very good spot right now, because anything older than 10 years old, it's hard to get decent financing on. But when you get into collector cars, which this is a collector car, financing options are actually readily available, and they are very good. Not to mention, the collector car insurance is fantastic when it comes to price. It's probably half of what any other you know, it's going to be half of what my daily driver is, let's put it this way. So when I narrowed it down to going with an older Corvette, I was looking at a couple of those C4s that I had posted, as well as a, you know, C3, and I just didn't want to go with one of those. So it ultimately came down to, what C4 did I want to get? And I saw the Grand Sport, and I saw the ZR1. The pace car wasn't really what I wanted to get, but I just wanted to put it out there to throw you guys off the scent a little bit. So the main reason I did not go with the ZR1 versus the Grand Sport was because when you see this car, you know what it is. This, you know, the Grand Sport was a one-off. It was 1 year. You see this car, you know what it is. The ZR1, although that thing is a monster under the hood, it kind of looks like just about any other Corvette. So when it comes down to it, I wanted something that had a little bit of flash, and I'll be honest with you, the engine on the ZR1 scared me. It sounds like nobody really knows how to work on it, and getting it, I believe it's the LT5 that's in there, that dual overhead cam V8. I believe it was partially designed by Lotus or something like that, but I don't know. All I know is that from what I heard, the ZR1's nothing wrong with them, but if you do need to get any work, and the wind's kicking up here, so if the audio is bad, let me know. I just didn't want to get into a car that I might not be able to afford to fix. And what it boils down to here with the LT4 engine, it's just a little bit spiced up LT1, and pretty much everything's the same as most of the standard Corvettes. That, you know, it just wasn't going to be anything too complicated, and let's be honest, that is one hell of a nice looking car. So that is pretty much the short and sweet on how this is. So, and basically why this happened so fast was I saw it online, talked to the dealer, he told me the story. The previous owner is basically using this as a down payment on getting one of the new Corvettes when they come out, and needed to get it sold. So part of him getting his new Corvette was getting this thing sold for him. And yeah, so that's how that worked out. So I kind of got the deal put together, bought myself a plane ticket, actually two technically, flew down here today to Kansas City, Missouri, and he picked me up at the airport. We did all the paperwork, gave me the keys, and here I am as a owner of a 1996 Grand Sport Corvette. So anyways, I don't really have much else to say or share right now, and I'm going to probably leave it at that. So I appreciate all of you that jumped in here and watched this, and I will be having a lot of stuff coming up very, very soon here. We got Corvette adventures up in Wisconsin Dells next weekend. Probably going to go to more car shows with this. I can't talk. More car shows with this one because it's not leaking any oil like my other one. so that'll help. But anyways, yeah. Yeah, there's this rest stop here in Kansas City is really nice. So I haven't seen any fountains though, but yeah. So anyways, I appreciate you guys all hopping in here. Follow me on Instagram at 13Scorpio. If you haven't subscribed yet, please do so. Wisconsin Dells Vet Fest. Actually, it's CorvetteAdventures.com is where you can get the information. And I don't know about any other ones, so if that is something different than what you were talking about there as Vet Fest, I can definitely look into that when I get home. But yeah, next weekend up in Wisconsin Dells, CorvetteAdventures.com. Going to be there. Also planning to do the Corvette Caravan, which is going to be going down to, the Corvette Adventures is where you go to the racetrack up in the Dells and do the hot laps on the track. So I did that last year. That's where I got that video. So I do have a previous video on my channel if you wanted to check that out. And then also for those of you that are interested, you should check out CorvetteCaravan.com. There's going to be all sorts of regional groups going down to the Corvette Museum for the 25th anniversary. I believe it's at the end of August. And I will be going there with this car. So should be fun. Should be a great summer here with this. And like I said, like, comment, subscribe. Thanks for jumping in here, and I'm getting out of here, getting back on the road because I got about 500 more miles to drive. So until later, guys, appreciate y'all tuning in. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.